what specific steps can we take to ensure that there won't be an increase? There will be an increase, regardless of what we do, but we're going to do our very best. We're working with the AG's office and a few others so that we can, like I said, shut down some of the places that, like KUAM, we're concerned, very much concerned with the massage parlor operations and illegal activity that goes on with them. And then I forget there was one more.
Yes, what steps will be taken to ensure a smooth relationship, but I think you covered that, unless you want to talk about that a little bit more.
I think that we continue to develop that relationship, and not only with trainings, but we meet regularly with both the U.S. Attorney's Office and all the federal people, and with the Attorney General's Office and the local agencies. And we're open to meet with anyone that has any recommendations or ideas, because the Guam Police Department does not know everything. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
Yeah, Dave, I'd like to say a few words regarding that. I'm part of the Civilian Military Task Force, and what was expected, we're expecting about 7,000 vehicles to come through the military into the port. That's just on the military side. Can imagine all the families that will be coming in. So anywhere from 40,000 to 70,000 people coming in, visitors, is what is expected. So definitely there's going to be some problems that come through that, from traffic to incidences at home. About, I believe, somewhere around 40 to 60% will be living off post, from what I understand, until the military housing is all built. So we already know through reports from all the different forts out there at military bases that there is an increase in military, domestic violence throughout the military. Soldiers come home, the spouse has been taking care of the children, and the stresses, they don't understand the stresses that from the battlefield. They come back, they don't have enough time to decompress, and all these things that are coming about, the pressures of a family life. They've been gone 18 to 24 months possibly, maybe even longer, maybe second or third tour. So we're going to be having some of those issues that come over here to Guam, and we have to make sure we understand that. As far as the sexual, possible sexual assaults and the women here, I think one of the things that we must ensure is that whenever a soldier is accused of assaulting a civilian out in the community or what have you, that there is an understanding from the military of what is the disposition. We can't just say, okay, it's been handled in the military, and an Article 15 or a general court-martial, and then we are left to wonder what really happened or transpired, because of course that has happened before in the past. And I think that's what the public is expecting, that things that happened in the Philippines, where a woman was assaulted by two or three soldiers or what have you. So I think that's what the public expects, is just an interaction, feedback on what is going on with our soldiers that do come over here.
Okay, and you say there's an expectation of interaction, so the question is there interaction?
I believe we have interaction. As far as, we've had several meetings with the different types of forces here, and the best we can. And I think, as we go along and as we continue, this is going to be an ongoing process. We just can't have a piece of paper and then it says, okay, that's it. It's going to take a little while. You have to understand the culture. They're going to have to understand our processes in the government, and that doesn't just happen overnight. It's not probably going to happen within 1 or 2 years. It's going to take a long while until we can get it in order. But I think we have the basic foundation of understanding that there is a concern. And I hope that when it does occur, that we get reciprocity, that we understand it, we're informing them what's going on with our community, and at the same time, they let us know what is being done to ensure that we don't have these soldiers getting in trouble.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Camacho. Chief Supay has another comment, then we'll go to Attorney General Quiaco.
Chief Camacho brought up some good points that reminded me that we have had great dialogue with both the Admiral of the Air Force and the General of the Air Force and the Admiral of the Navy. And we also established a working relationship recently, establishing the shore patrol, or the officers, the military personnel, working with our local police department to ensure that before a situation escalates to someone needing to be arrested, that they're removed, they're gotten a cab or a bus or another ride and taken safely to their location that they're staying at. But one of the things that you did indicate was what specific steps can we take to ensure that there not be an increase. I like the word we, because you're absolutely right. It's going to be a we. And what we can do is start thinking prevention. That's each and every one of us in this room. If we each take care of ourselves so that we don't crash and get killed or broken, that will reduce the number of medics that have to respond or the police investigations that need to be conducted, and a savings to revenue, not only your insurance, but to your medical expenses and the hospital care. And that way they can concentrate and take care of those that really can't help themselves because of medical reasons that are above and beyond them trying to do what's safe. That includes being out in the water. That includes taking care of your own home and your personal safety and security. So what can we do? Ladies, be safe. Work together when you go out to have fun. Be together in a group so that you don't become a victim, and then pass that on to your coworkers. And men, let's take care of our ladies to ensure that they're walked out to the parking lot and you're not part of the problem. And so there's a lot we can do without any money being spent on this issue. We just look at it in the aftermath usually.
Thank you, Chief Suba. Attorney General Mtiako.
Yes, thank you. Based on our experience, professional experience, and also in consultations we've had with with the University of Guam, with other universities that have gathered some empirical data in terms of military buildups and the impact on communities, I agree with the comments that I'm hearing today in terms of what kind of increased criminal activity do we expect, and certainly probably in all areas, but we do expect to see them in the areas of assaults, DUIs, family violence, child maltreatment and abuse, sexual abuse, prostitution, human trafficking, drugs, property-related offenses. There are going to be concerns again about procurement, fraudulent schemes, public integrity, public corruption, and labor and immigration-related matters, whether they be on the civil or criminal side. In terms of what can we do to try to address these problems, we've talked about maximizing our current resources given our budgetary constraints, but obviously we're going to need more. We've talked about formalized memoranda of understanding that we do have, for example, with some current agencies who receive federal funding, where we provide legal assistance. We can hire an attorney to assist the agency, and it's their federal funding that comes through their agency that pays for that attorney position. We're going to have to really push on those types of arrangements because with, again, limited government resources, it's going to be very difficult. Training, our policy in our office is to bring trainers to Guam because the cost for us to send 1 or 2 attorneys or investigators or other staff are in the tens of thousands of dollars, and so it makes more sense for us to bring 2, 3, 4 trainers to Guam, and we can have a conference up to 300 people where we invite not just our law enforcement counterparts, but our social service providers, nonprofits, other organizations that we work very closely with. Task forces. It's very important to continue our task forces. Our office has established several task forces, including a human trafficking interagency task force, cybersecurity and cybercrime task force. The chief mentioned massage therapy and establishments task force, family violence task forces, gaming and gambling. And those would be examples of the task forces that are currently in effect and are working on both the civil approach to these problems as well as the criminal, because really our regulatory agencies do have a lot to offer in terms of law enforcement.